wrestling friends, to another edition of Smarknado. I am your host, Eric Druckmann. With me, as always, the Dirty Bird, Dirty Dan Cesnit. You are a two-time Super Bowl champion.
2 times.
10 years. And yeah, man, our resident Philadelphia Eagles fan had a great night last night. I feel like most of America had a pretty good night just watching the Chiefs get absolutely shellacked. Not a great night if you're betting. For the most part.
But, no, I got wiped in that regard. Yeah, but I said to myself before the game yesterday, all is forgiven on the gambling front if the Eagles come away with the victory in this game. And not only did they come away with a victory, and I think I speak for everybody, not just Eagles fans, that was a dominant victory. The score wasn't even as close as it seems.
No, the score got closer because of the garbage time at the end of the game.
Where,
Chiefs were scoring, but it was just an insurmountable lead at that point. So yeah, Xavier Worthy, 2 touchdowns, looks great on paper. But yeah, I guess my biggest takeaway is just like any time that the Eagles scored, the Chiefs just never had an answer. The Chiefs couldn't make it past the 50-yard line, at least the entire first half and most of the third quarter. It was pretty pathetic, and it was one of the, I think it was statistically the worst performance of Pat Mahomes' career.
They stunk up the joint. And let's not I watched a lot of, I was off work today, so I watched a lot of sports television because that's what you do after your favorite team wins the Super Bowl, because it's mostly positive talk. But I found a lot of the talk was centered more around what did Mahomes and the Chiefs do wrong and not what the Eagles did right. And the Eagles did everything right last night. And they earned it. And I think that it's the start of something good. It's a very young team. It's a really well-run organization, and it's going to be a tough team to beat for a lot of years.
Yeah. So, and, they won every single battle in the trenches, I feel like. Their front seven, they got exposed, the Kansas City offensive line.
Did it without blitzing, which is crazy. It was a fun game for me to watch. I can understand how in some senses it wasn't a fun game to watch because, like I said, it was pretty lopsided.
I would have preferred it to be back and forth.
Personally. Not great for my blood pressure, great for the viewing audience, but between that and the Kendrick Lamar halftime performance, which I know pissed off all the right people, it was a special night for me as a sports and music fan. So
man. Kendrick's performance, I loved it. I'm not like a huge like Kendrick Lamar buff. Like I don't know like all of his tracks and everything, but I thoroughly enjoyed what he did, and of course he played Not Like Us.
Yes.
And very directly targeted Drake.
Yeah.
And it's kind of funny because there were commercial. You see the commercial with Tom Brady and Snoop Dogg that aired a couple of times for everybody to get along. And this halftime show was pretty much just all petty.
Yeah, it was, and I loved it. And I am a Kendrick, fan, mark, if you will. I thought it was spot on. It was relevant. And
I think Another thing is, you say the people that are getting angry about it, all the usual suspects that are getting angry about these halftime shows. And it's just like, when are these people just going, like, even independent of like who you vote for, your political party, or like, you people are fucking old, and like rock halftime shows are just not going to sell these days. It's just not going to happen.
They're not. There's very few rock bands that can put on a performance the same way that hip hop can. It's just
Yeah.
it's not relevant anymore.
It's like
And that's
people
not to
just,
say rock isn't great. There's a lot of great
yeah.
bands out there, but it's not the same. It doesn't hit. It's the culture. It really is. It's
Once
taking it over.
and once you just accept the fact that the halftime show, for the most part, as you get older, it's not for you.
No,
So just accept the fact that the halftime show it's not for you. The football is there for you, but the halftime show is there for people that really buy into the mainstream music scene, and that's going to be younger people.
yeah,
So just fucking deal with it.
it was
That
great, and I
we're not going to get the Rolling Stones to do a halftime performance ever again.
and nor should we.
Nor should we. Exactly.
We shouldn't want it. There's nobody's asking for that.
No.
And I mean, maybe there's a country act out there, maybe that gets hot at the right time. But
There probably would be, man, because we're not really country fans, but there's no denying just how popular it's become and how it has kind of stretched itself across different genres. Like
it's made
Beyonce win the country album of the year.
Yeah, it's making itself a comeback, especially in the black country artist realm. It really is. So maybe it does become more of mainstream culture, but
yeah,
or it does become that sort of big at the right time to be a halftime show. But there's no denying that Kendrick's cultural relevance right now is bigger than any artist on the planet.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely. And he deserved it, and he had a great halftime show. And like I was saying, these halftime shows, they're not supposed to be for everybody. They're supposed to be for, the people that are really like contributing to the money-making machine that is Kendrick Lamar. And that brings me to the Royal Rumble with Jey Uso.
Okay.
Now,
fair comparison, actually. I
think that this is a good time to compare this because, I feel like even myself, I don't really feel like Jey Uso is really my cup of tea. Other people feel that way too. But when you look at the fan reaction, when you look at the merchandise sales, when you look at the engagement and just how overwhelmingly popular this act of Jey Uso has become, there's really no good argument against him winning the Royal Rumble. Like, I think that WWE really did correct by the fans taking advantage of who is very much over right now and striking while the iron is hot. And that's something that they failed to do in a lot of bygone years. And I think that this decision to have Jey Uso in the in the WrestleMania main event is a great thing, and it really just it's WWE telling the fans, we hear you, we listen to you, and we're going to give you what you want.
There's a cross section of fans like you and me that just aren't for Jey Uso,
But it's like, we're not really for him, but we see it and we support the decision because of, the overwhelming popularity that he brings with him.
I think I think it was a knee-jerk reaction in a lot of ways because it really doesn't what's the main event going to be? Jey Uso versus Gunther? We've seen that.
Well, I think what we can do is they can just on the way to Mania, and I do think that they fumbled the bag in terms of just how decisively Jey lost to Gunther at Saturday night's main event a couple of weeks ago. It didn't leave us with a feeling of, oh, Jey really does deserve another shot. So I think that in setting this up, that is something that they did kind of screw up on. They should have left it for, Jay could really get Gunther next time, but it didn't really. That's not how the story was told in their match at Saturday night's main event. Obviously, we have a couple months. They have time. They can tell the story of Jay gaining momentum and being the one to be able to take down Gunther. But I do see how the story is not perfect based on the decisions that they had made. And maybe it was a knee-jerk reaction to give it to Jay, considering just how underwhelming that previous title match was.
And everything else, all the other feuds just seem hotter. So to me, I don't know. Like I said, Jay's just not my cup of tea. But I get why he's there. I get what he's doing. I get the the flavor that he brings to the brand and the show is culturally relevant right now to a group that is paying money, like you said, and so eloquently segued. So, was it a business decision? Yes. I just think from a wrestling, far from an insider, but a smark, as it were, it just doesn't seem like a good storytelling win to me.
Yeah, I hear you. All right. So let's just kind of skip ahead and talk about that men's Royal Rumble a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Was there anything that particularly stood out to you? Any performances that really caught your eye? Was there anything that bothered you? And any thoughts on the Royal Rumble match, the men's Royal Rumble match?
Outside of the winner, I thought it was what bothered me was I Show Speed being in the Rumble. Stupid.
Same.
Penta having a fantastic run in his first Rumble, 40 some odd minutes.
I guess that was met with a lot of criticism because people were like, oh, well, he was taking a nap in the corner a lot of times. And it's just like, isn't that what everyone kind of does in the Royal Rumble? You're going to be in there from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, it's the way it is.
Yeah.
The Joe Hendry pop was big. I expect him to last long. The pop, I will say, surprised me. I did not think it would be as big as it was.
For Joe Hendry?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great.
One of the bigger ones of the night. I still stick by my flash in the pan guns with him, but
I thought the one thing that just really upset me during this Rumble was Jacob Fatu getting eliminated by Braun Strowman. If I could look back at one thing that just left a really bad taste in my mouth, it was that moment. I just wanted to see Jacob Fatu just continue just to crush it and eliminate as many people as possible. I just think that there's more to be desired from him. And I genuinely am very interested in what exactly Jacob Fatu's WrestleMania storyline is going to be. And what is the Bloodline storyline going to be leading into WrestleMania?
Do they is the Bloodline sort of fizzled out in a way?
It doesn't seem to be that way if you're going by the most recent SmackDown and how it ended. Solo took out Cody Rhodes right at the end of the show.
I didn't watch all the way to the end of SmackDown. I fell asleep, to be completely honest with you. But I was gonna say, where has Solo been?
He has been absent, but he just returned. So, yeah, yep.
Okay. Cody versus Solo doesn't excite me. Cody versus Jacob does. But
yeah,
can you build Jacob, who we know has all the tools, is he ready for the main event of WrestleMania right now?
I don't know.
Probably not.
I think he's in an Elimination Chamber qualifying match. I think it's him, Braun, and Damian Priest next week.
He should win that then, right?
I hope so. I think it's probably going to be Priest, though.
Why do you say so? Why do you think that?
Because I think that Priest and Drew are both going to be a part of the Elimination Chamber, and they're going to do something that's going to lead to their eventual match at Mania, because I think they're facing each other too.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Priest and Drew.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't. Yep. I just most years, and maybe this is a good thing. Most years, I am pretty firm in my belief of what the card of WrestleMania is going to be.
Mm-hmm.
This year, it's really hard to tell.
It is. If you don't mind, I'm just going to share what I think is going to happen so far.
Okay, I would love to hear what I think you're.
I think it's going to be Charlotte versus Tiffany.
Okay.
Because I think that's the freshest match for Charlotte Flair, and if anything has been proven in the past week with Charlotte Flair, it's that she is still stale as hell with her presentation.
Yeah.
And who she is and everything. Mm-hmm. So we cannot just go back to her versus Rhea. That we need something fresh with that. Okay. I have Rhea versus question mark. I have Cody versus question mark. I think it's going to be John Cena, though.
Do you think?
Yeah, I do. I think he might win the Elimination Chamber. Do you?
Again, this is one of the harder things to predict, because I'm like, okay, I'm just going down the people in the Royal Rumble, right? Where do these people fit in?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, where does Jacob Fatu fit in? Roman, what's his match at Mania going to be? Drew, I think your idea of Drew versus Priest is good, but Drew is on Raw and Priest is on SmackDown.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that plays out.
Like no, I think they're both on SmackDown now, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they're both there now. Yep.
I mean, I would love to see AJ Styles on the Mania card, but that's more likely in some sort of multi-man match, I'd imagine. At this point, with
maybe they should do like Jacob Fatu and God against AJ Styles and the Motor City Machine Guns.
Something like that would be fun. Or yeah. CM Punk, where does he fit in? Seth Rollins, so probably Seth versus CM Punk in some capacity.
You think it's going to be Punk versus Roman versus Seth in a triple threat match? Because that's what the rumor is right now.
And I don't like it. You know, if that is to be the case, I don't like it, because a triple threat match with no title on the line to me is stupid.
Yeah, I'd rather have Roman versus Seth, because you can still tell that story and make it compelling. And they haven't really gone back to that story in a while either, especially with the roles being reversed of, Roman now being the babyface and Seth being the heel. And I think that Punk just put Punk with somebody in a marquee match. I think there should be one. Maybe you should have Punk versus Jacob Fatu.
Hell, I would like to see Punk versus AJ.
Oh man, that's like real life beef too.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Who knows? There's a lot of people and not a lot of. I mean, 2 nights worth of card, but
yeah,
we'll see.
But I also wanted to mention, I think Owens versus Zayn is definitely happening.
Yeah, it seems like a collision
course. How did you feel about the ladder match? Did you think that it stole the show? Because I certainly did.
It definitely brought out a different side in Cody. I would say, yeah, it was the best match.
I thought that the spot where they hit the Alabama Slam through the ladder is
Yeah,
just going to stay in my mind forever.
basically the finishing spot where he
Yeah.
folded fucking Kevin Owens in half.
Mm-hmm. I love that the fact that Owens expected Sami Zayn to do something about that whole situation, and then he didn't, is the reason why Sami got the package pile driver this week. And there is something about Owens' character right now, man. If you ever go back to Ring of Honor back in like 2011, he kind of brings with him right now the same super deranged attitude that he has right now on the main roster. And it's really entertaining. I think that we're going to get a really, really great lead in into WrestleMania for Owens versus Zayn. And, I think some people are complaining that we've seen this match a million times. I could watch these guys wrestle forever.
Yeah, absolutely.
I really just don't care. Like, this is still like an interesting and new story. Yeah, we've seen these guys wrestle a bunch of times, but considering where they were 2 years ago, main eventing the show together to where they are right now, I think it's incredible. And who knows, maybe by next year they'll be facing each other for a championship.
Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to predict that far into the future, but yeah, they're the very definition of wrestling soulmates in the same way that Hangman and Swerve are, right? They can fight forever and nobody's ever what?
Even more so.
Yeah, because they've been doing it for longer, but you know the general sentiment, the palpable disdain, the just wanting to fight whenever you're in each other's presence is always bubbling underneath no matter what. So
yeah, definitely. All right. Also want to mention, so we also had the 2 out of 3 falls match, DIY against the Motor City Machine Guns.
Yes.
Hey, listen, I thought for the it was short. 14 minutes for a 2 out of 3 falls match. Way too short. And obviously we got the interference at the end from the Street Profits, which didn't lead to a clean finish. And so we have that to deal with. I liked the Street Profits promo on SmackDown. Just no nonsense, going to take what's theirs. I think that's a great edge that they have now.
Yeah, sure. Something new.
I'm looking forward to that. But I really, I selfishly wanted to see like a really great match between these two tag teams, which could have very easily stolen the show, but it didn't because it wasn't given enough time. And then they decided to do what they did with the finish at the end.
Yeah, I predicted that this was going to be match of the night, and I was sorely mistaken. It was not particularly great.
It was only because of booking, really.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we're going in kind of reverse order here, but Charlotte Flair won the Women's Royal Rumble. I think it's amazing that we had Roxanne Perez last all the way to the end. Hour and 7 minutes in the Royal Rumble. Lasted all the way to the end. I think that she's going to be getting a Elimination Chamber qualifying match soon too.
So they'll probably put her in the Elimination Chamber. I would imagine, depending on who she's in that match with. I don't know off the top of my head who's already qualified on the women's side. I know the men's side has CM Punk and Cena and Seth. Right?
Wait, go ahead again. I'm sorry. What'd you say?
Who's already qualified for the Elimination Chamber? Do you know?
Oh, I think it's just Seth, Cena, and
Punk, right?
Punk, yeah.
Okay. And do you know on the women's side, Bianca, I think?
No, I don't know who qualified on the women's side.
I'm gonna have to,
Yeah.
well,
But I will
regardless.
say, I thought there were a lot of great moments in this women's Royal Rumble. First one that comes to mind is Jordan Grace coming out, just absolutely looking like a fucking WWE superstar, and her lifting up Piper Niven and giving her the Death Valley driver effortlessly was just so fucking cool.
I mean, she didn't get a very long run either, though, to be completely honest
She
with
was
you.
in there for about 22 minutes. I'm looking at the stats right now. She should have been in there longer, though, for sure. I thought Lash Legend had a great showing in the Rumble. Let me look at other. Jada Parker was in there. She was fine. I thought that Stephanie Vaquer and Julia both had really great showings in the Rumble.
Yeah,
Oh, Trish. Jesus. Trish was amazing.
Well, Trish is always amazing. I
Yeah.
mean, for her to still be doing it
Mm-hmm.
at a top level, I don't know. They always bring her out during Mania season and Rumble season, so maybe she ends up in some multi-woman tag match on Mania in some capacity.
We'll see. We'll see how that all plays out. But again, Charlotte won. She came in at number 27. She was in the match for 15 minutes. It's not like she didn't look good. She looked fine. But it's just like
called it.
There is just something with her personality. There's something just with her presentation there. And you know what's sad too is like when she came and she won, the what was it, Raw after the Royal Rumble, when she came out and she was brought out to so many boos from people, and she was trying to spill her heart out of just how much this past year has meant to her and stuff. I think if they wanted fans to really get on her side, they should have had like a really emotional like video package leading into the Royal Rumble of like exactly what she went through and her heartache, and even telling the story of she wouldn't be here right now wrestling if it wasn't for her brother Reed passing away, and she wanted to wrestle in his memory. I think that's a beat of her career that I feel like WWE doesn't use as much as they should if they're trying to push her.
I don't love it.
But I'm just saying, like, that's a way for people to get emotionally invested in her. Because otherwise, when you're just showing her as somebody that just has a lot of money, yeah, I am back, I'm the best, it's very, very hard for fans to get behind her. And
but that's the thing. I just don't think fans ever are going to get behind her as a babyface. It's just not going to happen. She's built to be a heel because she is so supremely athletically gifted.
I understand that, but at least the way that they were setting the table for all this, it looked like that they were kind of trying to get the fans behind her. Am I wrong in saying that?
No, you're absolutely right in saying that. They're trying. I just think they're going to fail miserably every time they try. They've tried before, right? Like they've tried to get the fans behind them and it hasn't happened.
Right.
Or behind her, rather, I should say.
Yeah, there's just something
unlikable about her.
And very unlikable about Charlotte. Yeah. And now we have to deal with her again. And it's just kind of like, I feel like over the past week with her being back, I'm like, oh, wow, we have this person again. Everything was going so great until she came back.
Maybe they course correct, hopefully they course correct. They've done a good job recently. And, as we've said with many great wrestling eras, not everything is a win. There's a lot of stinkers too. And, Charlotte Flair babyface run is going to be a stinker if they try.
Right. Absolutely.
Because especially if you think that they're going to have her versus Tiffany, because Tiffany's getting over as a babyface organically.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. That's why I think it's a good spot for Tiffany and Charlotte.
I mean, it sucks because Charlotte's going to go over and it's going to.
You don't know that. You don't know that.
I don't know, man.
You
I
really
don't.
don't know that. We don't know that.
I have a hard time believing that she doesn't go over.
Mm-hmm.
It's just I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah. All right. So before we get into AEW, I think it's also appropriate we just kind of run down a list of some of the spring cleaning WWE releases that took place over the last couple of days. So
Oh yeah, forgot about that.
I'm just gonna name them, and we'll go with a quick thought of what we think is going to happen now and where they're going to go. First of all,
Sure.
Cedric Alexander.
Hurt Syndicate, baby.
Yeah, Cedric Alexander. I can definitely see him going to AEW with the Hurt Syndicate. Him getting released also brought back such good memories of that initial night where the fans were begging for him to get signed. The Cruiserweight Classic. He had a standout match with Kota Ibushi.
Yes, he did.
And man, what a great feeling that was. And I really thought that the sky was the limit for him in that time period. Didn't turn out to be. Obviously, he's somebody that's worked for different administrations in WWE. So now he's going to spread his wings. If he does not go to AEW and joins the Hurt Syndicate, I would love to see him continue his rivalry with Mustafa Ali in TNA.
He would be a very good fit in TNA, and he would get the time because he would. I bet you he would be looked at as a bigger star there than he was obviously in WWE. To me, the Hurt Syndicate is a no-brainer. They've talked about adding somebody else on. You know, who better than somebody that's already part of the group, right? So to me, I don't know. I know the only thing that would be questionable in that whole situation, I think, would be the fact that he's married to what is
Big
her
Swole.
name? Big Swole, who had the issue with Tony Khan and her contract and all that, which I obviously don't have details on. So that could be sort of a maybe I don't want to go there sort of thing. But who knows?
That's a good point. Didn't consider that. All right, next I have Sonya Deville, and I thought this was a surprise. And I actually saw a report recently that she actually asked for her release. First of all, Pure Fusion Collective, that's a name that I don't think that we'll have to hear anymore. So thank fucking God. Again, I like the stable, but that's just one of the worst names I've ever heard in my fucking life.
Really bad.
So my thoughts on Sonya is I think that she was actually very effective as like an on-screen character in like a speaking role. I thought she was effective as like, you know, maybe like a manager or a mouthpiece, stuff like that. I just never thought she was very strong in the ring. No matter what.
Yeah, she was okay. She, you know, if she had a really good opponent, then she was fine. She was never the leader in any match. No. But yes, she was effective as a GM. She was as effective as a mouthpiece. The stable was very good, despite the name. If she did ask for her release, that's the only way that I could see them wanting to release her, because I do think they liked her.
Out of all the people that got released, I actually see her as the one that probably would end up stepping away from wrestling. Because I think that she has such a social media reach. I think she's already been involved with so many different projects as it is. I could see her like transitioning to being like a TV host or something like that.
I could see that. That'd be very cool for her. She could. I mean, like you said, I don't think the wrestling part was ever her strong
Which
suit.
is surprising too, based on her background. Like she's always been somebody that I expected to be like a really good wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
But once Mandy Rose was like running circles around her, I was just like, oh wow, this is not what I expected it to be at all with her. But again, like she did well on an on-screen role. She was the GM for a little bit. She's obviously can talk. That's why I think that I could see her being like a host of a TV show.
For sure.
You know,
she's got the presence, the look, the je ne sais quoi, if you
je ne
will.
sais quoi.
Yeah.
The indefinable quality.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do these two together. The authors of Pain and Paul Ellering. I don't really even know what the point was of bringing in the authors of Pain for this Final Testament run. I just feel like they didn't do anything. We didn't really get to see any of the same fire that they had in NXT when they were running over the tag team division at that time. We never saw that version of Authors of Pain ever again. It's like, I don't really know what happened.
You never will.
I don't see them going really anywhere.
I could see them popping up in AEW, maybe not in a prominent role, but I could see them popping back up there, especially with the Ellering connection.
Yeah. Next, we have Blair Davenport. This was a surprise to me, just considering the fact that I think that this woman is so talented, such a great in-ring wrestler. Something about her character just never really took off. I don't know if like it was her own inability to like connect or it was booking. I'm not really sure. Whatever it was, obviously they felt like it wasn't working, so they let her go.
I'd say she's probably goes back to Japan.
Yeah, I mean, I think already she posted that she was a top gaijin as soon as she got released. So I think that tells you something right there.
Yeah, that's a pretty obvious one to me.
She's going to be fine. Isla Dawn is another one that got released. Someone that I wouldn't be surprised if she ended up going to Japan too, because back on the UK scene. Mm-hmm. Interesting that Isla Dawn was released. We still have Alba Fire, Kaylee Ray on the roster. I would love to see her finally get a singles push because as much as I don't mind Isla Dawn, I just feel like Kaylee Ray's talents have been wasted in a tag team when she could be a very capable single star.
She proved that. I don't think that's a
NXT UK Women's Championship.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are just going to break a record for being released. Carl Anderson, Luke Gallows. God, they're probably going to go back to Japan, right? Like third fucking run with the company.
Third, fourth, I don't know, something like that. I'd imagine they probably pop back up in AEW as well, in some capacity, because truthfully, they're still very good in the, I don't want to say comedy wrestling, but in the promo game and the comedy, they're still very funny dudes. So it would be a shame to not let them utilize that.
Yeah.
Or if they come in to back up Kenny and Will against.
We'll see. I mean, that's just been done so many times,
Yeah, but for a 1 or 2 off, it's not the worst case. That I'm not saying as a prominent TV figure or anything.
I hate to say it, but they just don't do it for me anymore. I've seen these guys too much,
Okay. I mean, you're going to keep seeing them. They're going to get booked.
Mm-hmm. Then we have Giovanni Vinci. This is a really interesting one just because, like, he got booted out of Imperium. He was re-debuting on SmackDown, lost his re-debut, which is never a good sign. And they haven't really done anything with him. He's a great athlete. I think that it's pretty obvious that he does not really have any charisma.
Taking him out of Imperium was just silly.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I mean, you could have kept him in there. I mean, I guess you don't want to pay somebody that doesn't really add, but, he's always going to be a guy that guy in the stable,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm. So he's gone. Electra Lopez too. I
Oh,
can't say that I'm really surprised about that. She wasn't really been used as a wrestler, more as a manager for Legato.
Yeah,
And then we had Duke Hudson.
that's a surprise.
I thought it was a surprise because this guy just on paper, 6'5", 260 pounds, jacked as all hell. He was in this Chase U role to me for way too long. If anyone was ever familiar with his work before he went to WWE, he was always just a real arrogant, cocky heel, and I think that's his wheelhouse. And if any other promotion gives him the opportunity to play that character that's more true to who he is in real life, I think he's going to be just fine.
They have enough of these guys, but I could see him doing a GCW run.
Yeah, I could see that too. Definitely. All right, so those are all the WWE releases from this past week.
You think
Dan,
we're going to get more?
Let's hope not.
I hate to see people lose jobs, but with the wrestling industry thriving as it is right now, I think most of them are going to make a fine living. So I don't, shed tears over it.
Yeah.
Because it is interesting and fun for us as fans, right? You don't want people to lose their jobs, especially if it's their dream job truly. But at the end of the day, this is a business and it's fun for fans to see the movement.
Yeah. Totally agree, man. Yeah, there's so many places for these guys to work, and if Matt Cardona has proven anything that, you can carry your own brand without having a company that that signs your paychecks.
Yeah, just gotta try hard enough. That's all.
Yep.
All right. So we'll talk AEW before we go.
Yeah, let's talk a little bit AEW. What's going on there?
All right, Dynamite results pulled up. Opened up the show. We had the interview with Switchblade. This was a typical Switchblade interview. It's kind of the same stuff, man.
Yeah, let's just kind of wait for it to end with Moxley. It is the same shit all the time with Moxley, and I'm tired of it.
Yeah. So we'll see.
I think Moxley is just like so convinced that the shit that he's doing is so good, but it's not.
It's almost, and I hate to say this, but it's almost touching Jericho territory in that regard, where like Jericho just thinks his shit is so over, but it's not really at all.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's getting stale, and it's sad because I like a lot of the stuff they are doing on the show right now. So I'd hate for it to be like a complete turn off of the show. So
yeah.
But next up we had the Will Ospreay versus a member of the Don Callis family. This was interesting, right? What did you think of Mark Davis being the challenge?
I mean, I like that the match happened. I think that when you listen to the commentary, just like just falling over themselves trying to explain away how Mark Davis is now a part of the family. It was just kind of like, I don't know. It was stupid. I think that should have been something that was addressed by like Don Callis on the microphone before they brought him out. I mean, it was just so weird that it happened like that, because if you're somebody that's like watching in the arena, you would just be asking yourself, like, why is Mark Davis like with the Don Callis family? That doesn't make any sense. And like, you would have had to have listen to the commentary explain away how this all happened in order to put it all together. And I just think that it could have been a little bit more cleaned up when they brought him out.
Often I don't really think about the people in the arena. I guess just because so often I'm not one of them. So I guess your point is very valid in that maybe a quick promo from Callis cleans that up, um, but I don't think they were falling all over themselves to tell us the story on commentary. I thought they were pretty clear about it, and I thought Callis was pretty clear about it. I thought it was pretty good, man. Besides your obvious gripe, which I do agree with, I like the match and I get the point of it, and it's better than some completely random person they throw out there that they add to the Callis family. You're like, what? Who? So easier to explain than that, in my opinion. But
there are a couple really cool moments from Mark Davis in this match too. That one pile driver that he did,
the sort of running one, the running sit down one.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then he also did like this reverse version of the Kamagoye, like to the back of the head. If that makes any sense to you, it was cool.
Mark Davis is a fantastic wrestler, and I would like to see him go on a singles run. I think he would be very good at it if he had the chance. I almost prefer him as a wrestler over Kyle Fletcher in some ways.
I do prefer him as a wrestler over Kyle Fletcher. Just my cup of tea.
Yeah.
We
had another Kenny Omega sighting, which is always good for the show. All right. Next up, we had Hurt Syndicate come on out, interrupted by the Guns, who still, in my opinion, have one of the coolest entrances in AEW. What did you think about them being the one to confront the Hurt Syndicate?
I liked it just because there does need to be tag teams that are like standing up to what?
Tag teams that are tag teams?
Tag teams that are standing up to the Hurt Syndicate and are able to step up. And, the Guns, they certainly look the part. Do they have like the resume that like an FTR would or anything like that? No, but they're entertaining. And I'm interested to see how this plays out. I don't necessarily think that the Guns really stand a chance against these guys. But I'll sit down and I'll watch this all develop.
Yeah, no, I like it. I liked the vignette they played for them for their comeback. I like them coming back and confronting them strongly against a team that is very, very scary in the simplest way possible, right? And they might not have the longest resume, but they were tag team champions. So they have a legit, hell, this is a legit tag team that is gonna put on a good match with them, hopefully. But I am, of the mind that Hurt Syndicate is gonna kind of just destroy everybody.
Maybe this is also the storyline where you have the Hurt Syndicate. Those two have MVP with them. Maybe this is finally the moment where the Guns get their father back in their corner.
Maybe.
The odds.
Maybe. That wouldn't be bad, especially since both MVP and Billy can still go. That's the trios match that we can see. I like that idea quite a bit, actually. All right, next up we had the segment everybody was waiting for. Renee backstage getting a word with Mercedes Moné.
You mean Harley Cameron?
It's the puppet.
Yeah.
This makes me laugh every single time. Everything she does makes me laugh out loud. It's very reminiscent of Billy. What's her face?
Billy Kay.
Billy Kay. I haven't laughed so hard since Billy Kay. And some of her antics.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Fantastic for the show.
And we ended up just to skip ahead. She had the concert on Collision, and we are going to be getting Harley versus Mercedes this Wednesday. Or I'm sorry, this Saturday. Oh my God, that's another thing too. This Grand Slam Australia, it's on at the worst fucking time.
What time is it on?
It's on after All-Star Saturday night on NBA. So God fucking knows when that even ends.
Yikes. So I'll be watching it on Sunday then, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
That's
it's
fine.
Fucking weird. I don't
There's no football on anyway. I'll just watch it the next day.
Yeah. It's I hate that.
Yeah, I mean it's a terrible time, but it's also is it pre-recorded? Or is it maybe live?
I think it's live.
I don't know. Have to like wait for the All-Star shit to end till they start there. That's a bit of a head scratch.
Terrible scheduling.
Yeah.
Terrible.
All right. Next up, we had a Hangman Page interview with Renee. It's the ups and downs of Hangman. Right? 1 minute we think he's going to be this guy that's going to start changing, and then the next show he says, I don't give a damn, basically, that he put Daniels out for good. Because he said he was going to do it, and he did it. It's always good. He's the best actor in AEW.
For sure. Yeah, so let's just what did you think of this tag team match, the Hounds of Hell versus Takeshita and Fletcher? Because I thought that stole the show.
Absolutely. It was the best match of the night. It's just it's not a new tag team with Brody and Buddy, but it feels new.
It
and
does.
The loss kind of sucks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like I think they're gonna get their momentum, and I think that the match between Okada and Buddy in Australia this week is going to be really great too.
What is the final card, or is there even like the card finalized for that show yet, or no?
I don't know. So you mind if we just kind of click and choose our way through the rest of this?
Yeah, whatever you want. Go ahead.
Well, I guess just my other reactions from the show. MJF, his in-ring segment with Dustin Rhodes. I thought Dustin Rhodes knocked it out of the park.
Yeah, he's
with his promo on MJF, and it ruled. And it was nice to not see Jeff Jarrett on this show and have any time taken to him. I do also want to say that Timeless Toni Storm, when she came out as Mariah May, holy shit, man. Like, that's just gonna... She was Mariah May better than Mariah May.
Okay, I take it back. Hangman's not the best actor in AEW.
In AEW, it's Toni.
It's definitely Toni.
Yeah.
She's just... I'm just so glad that everybody sort of had to eat crow on the whole, like, why is she on Rampage and like all of that, because it's just been such perfect storytelling continued. Like, It's the sequel of Toni Storm. It's just incredible.
So they said that Dynamite wait, is Dynamite on tomorrow? Tuesday?
I don't know.
Because I'm reading right here that Dustin Rhodes said that next Tuesday night, Austin, Texas, I'm going to beat your ass.
Maybe it's recorded and he's an idiot. I don't know. I'm looking right now. Sorry for the silence, folks.
No, I'm just trying to understand what the hell's going on here. Yeah, February 11th, Dynamite Austin.
Huh.
What? Why don't they say they need to make a bigger deal about these things happening?
Is it? No, I mean, I know it's All-Star Week. What is going on? I don't know.
So Dynamite is not on Wednesday this week. It's on Tuesday. And how come they didn't make a bigger deal about this?
Maybe it's recorded and they're going to show it on Wednesday. Who knows?
I don't think so. I don't
know. I don't know. I don't run the show. I just watch the show. But I'm off work tomorrow, so that's good for me.
Yeah. Good for you. What was I going to say? I also want to say that Ricochet and Strickland had an amazing match with each other. And I loved how it ended up playing out with Ricochet taking the embassy robe and walking away and just continuing his ascent into being one of the better heels in AEW. I never thought I'd say that.
It's definitely mind-boggling. Who'd have thunk it? But he's knocking it out of the park, and Swerve is going to be a guy that's going to be cheered for no matter what, almost. So, so it's a good fit.
Yeah, man, I love it. I just can't believe it's on tomorrow. Whatever. I guess we'll watch tomorrow.
I guess so.
Stuff like this just annoys the shit out of me to no end about Tony Khan and AEW. Just like they do these schedule changes, they don't make a big deal about it. They assumed everybody can just
It says AEW Dynamite live on TBS and streaming on Max next Wednesday at 8/7 Central.
Really?
That's what it says.
The
bottom of the result.
Yep. Well, we'll see.
Who knows?
Oh, I think we should also mention that as of today, granted releases of Ricky Starks. So Ricky Starks is probably going to be on his way to WWE now.
Where did you read that?
That happened today with AEW.
Huh. I didn't see that. I haven't been on social media really at all.
Him, Malachi Black, and Miro.
All got granted releases?
Yep.
Yeah, so they're all headed back to WWE or to WWE for the first time. So, good. Good for them. They weren't being used anyway.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And, I mean, I think that bloats the roster a little bit in WWE. Are they immediate releases, or are there like a...
I don't know if there's any. I don't think there's any no compete clauses in AEW contracts. I know nothing about that. So
good.
But they're no longer under contract. It says so. I assume no.
That would be sick if one of them was on Raw tonight.
I would love to see Malachi Black in a feud with Punk.
That would be a fantastic WrestleMania match. If you could get him and build it that quickly, I would be 100% behind that. Hell, have him appear at Elimination Chamber.
Yeah. Do something interesting. Oh, they definitely can with those talents.
Yeah.
Otherwise, though, I don't think I have really anything left. Do you, Dan?
Yeah. No, I got nothing.
Well, you do have a ring.
2 now, but yeah, it's Go Birds. I guess I can say that they did it. I was if you know me as an Eagles fan, I'm always very hesitant thinking the other shoe's going to drop. So it definitely feels good. Maybe my Knicks can follow it up with an NBA championship this year, which isn't completely outside the realm of possibility. So yeah, I'm feeling pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Congratulations, man. Like I said, I'm a New York Giants fan, but it's a really, really, really tough time to be a New York Giants fan. But it's nice to see someone like Saquon Barkley get his due because he wasn't really getting the love that he really respected, that he really deserved when he was in WWE. So, or I'm sorry, when he was in the Giants.
Back in his WWE days, he wasn't getting.
Worlds are colliding right now. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he seems like a genuinely good dude. And I'm happy because he had arguably the greatest rushing season plus playoffs of all time.
Well, there is no argument there. He did do it.
Well, and I was going to say arguably one of the greatest offensive performances of all time. Right?
Sure. Yeah.
In the history of the NFL. And there's no reason they can't do it again next year. Because most of the team is back together, especially across the offensive line and whatnot. So
where does AJ Brown go?
I don't think he's a free agent yet. I think I got one more year.
Okay, that's good.
So, and I don't know that he necessarily goes. He might stick around. You never know. I mean, Super Bowl does weird things to you.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right, but enough is enough. Tell them where they can find us.
Follow us on Instagram at Smarknado, on Twitter at Smarknado1. Leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Go check out our link tree. That's right there at the QR code, top right of the screen. All our shit is there.
It is. Go Birds. Stay fresh, cheese bags.
Stay fresh, cheese bags. Keep watching wrestling.